So you got a few ideas. Now, what is the next step? Hey everyone, welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of my video tutorial. If you watched my first video on taking business ideas and using Airtable of how to gather that input by creating a survey, definitely take a moment to watch that video. But what I'm going to cover in this video here is taking the next step and trying to do some research around your ideas to help you determine what is the one idea that might work for you and potentially starting your own business. So if you're new to this channel, I try to cover tips and tricks and unlock lessons that I personally learned through my journey as a freelance consultant and entrepreneur as well too. And definitely consider subscribing. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into where we left off in the last video on when we create that simple survey of gathering those ideas. All right, so here we are in the exact same spot where we left off from my previous video. So what we're gonna do here next is go through the logical steps. So what I'm gonna teach is how to build that framework. So here we have our surveys, and right now we have one response. Let's assume we get a bunch of responses from all the input you got from your network. You've reached out to your friends, coworkers, colleagues, whoever, and you got a whole bunch of responses, right? Once you have a good set of data and review those responses, then you will look into saying, I got some few ideas here. Let's go ahead and list those ideas out. And there is no such thing as a bad idea. It's just finding the right idea that's worth your time. So let's go ahead and make a table called ideas. So we're gonna create a new table called ideas. This is gonna hold the list of ideas. Now let's think about the logical framework here. After you get a list of ideas, what do you wanna do next? Well, it's research on those ideas. So let's create another table here called research. Okay, so again, this whole tutorial is gonna be very high level to cover the basics, just so you can understand how to structure it your own way. That's the beauty of it with Airtable. It's this massive customization. So let's go ahead and go back to ideas. I'm going to call this view. Oops. Let me click out of that. Double click. Call this view as all ideas. Let's go ahead and delete these fields and start from scratch. And then we're going to call this the idea name. And let's go ahead and go through some ideas. Let's make up some ideas. Let's say one of your ideas is that you're really good at from your responses from your survey, and say one of those responses was how to retire before 50. All right, that's an idea. Someone might be really interested in learning how you did it. Let's say another idea could be you're very good at organizing your closet as an idea. Another one could be changing the brakes, right? You're really good at it. You're really good at changing the brakes, and everyone goes to you for to change the brakes. Let's go add another idea. I like to do even numbers here. Let's say you're very good with writing. Maybe you're really good at writing, right? Very good at writing content. So there you go. There's some few ideas here, but let's go a step further. Let's understand the things that matters most about the idea, right? Perhaps the very first thing is there a market? In order to understand if there's a market, let's get a good idea about market size. So let's go put market size in here, and let's make it a multiple choice thing, a drop down. So let's do a single select, which is a drop down feature. And let's say it's a small market size, a medium one, and a large one, and you could define however the size may be. You could say small could be like less than 100 people and so forth. You get the idea. But for simplicity's sake, let's just go with small, medium, and large. Let's go ahead and save that. And then now I can go categorize how to retire before 50. Well, I'm pretty sure there's a large market size for that. A lot of baby boomers, everyone who's retiring or before 50. Organizing closet. Perhaps there's a medium market for that. Changing brakes. Maybe there is a medium market for that. Very good at writing content. Maybe there is a small market for that. Again, I'm just arbitrarily picking just for example purposes. You can also customize these colors too. So let's go ahead. Let's make large a little bit bigger. Let's change the color to maybe like a little pink reddish to stand out a little bit. And then there you go, right? So now we have a good idea what the market size is. Now the question is, are they willing to pay? What is the price range we think, right? Just get a general idea, right? What's really worth our time if we were to find an idea that can actually have the highest ROI and that you deliver the most value. So let's go ahead and say value. And we do the exact same thing, right? We do a single select. We could say less than 100, right? Less than, say, $100. Maybe you say one that is greater than 100, less than 1,000. Okay. And then maybe this one would be greater than 1K. Let's make that one green for money. Make this one a little orange, yellow, and there we go. All right. So there we go. We have our value. So we'll make our quick assumption saying that how to retire before 50. Maybe there is great value there that people are willing to pay more than $1,000 to learn how to do that. And then maybe organize your closet. Maybe that's something that is somewhere between 100 to 100K. Changing your brakes. Well, I know how much brakes cost, but maybe that's somewhere in between two to help save people some money. And then you have one that is very good at writing content. Maybe that's something that's less than $100. Okay. So there you go. That's kind of like your initial kind of like profile of your idea. Let's go ahead and put some notes in here. Let's add some notes. Make it a long form text. And you can add notes in here. And then really, we just want to make this really, really simple. I just want to get the general idea about the idea itself. Okay. The next step here is, okay, how do I do some research on this idea and capture more notes, research notes? So let's go ahead and go to the research table. And what we want to do is maybe create, let's call it all of our research as all research notes. And let's call this one, because this is going to be a unique ID. So I want to call it, let's see, note ID. I make it as an auto number because I like to use auto numbers, which is auto generated. Something unique. Okay, that's our note ID. And then we have our notes and attachments, which is okay. What's really cool about Airtable is that you can actually put physical attachments like images, websites, anything like that, PDFs, Word docs in here. So use it as a reference. You can just literally click and drag and add it here. Let's add a column. Let's go ahead and say during our research, we want to know maybe who it was, right? So maybe some key observations, like for example, is it someone you know? So it would be say type of person. Okay, this is going to be what would they say your avatar, right? I'm gonna put avatar type of person. We'll do a single line of text for now. Actually, no, let's not make a single line of text. Let's be very specific. We're going to do this exercise. Let's do this. So let's go ahead and call them, like, say it's a friend. Maybe it's a coworker, right? Maybe you have someone that is, it's a stranger, okay? That's it. Let me go delete that. Keep it like that. And then we'll move it over to the left. That's what I love about this. You can click and drag it. So now we can go and select the appropriate person that we talked to or we made some observations on. Again, these are really, I'm gonna call these notes and observations. Okay. So for example, let's say you're at a party or you're at a dinner, you're talking to someone and you're making some specific observations and you dug deeper about a certain idea, but you're not really pitching your idea, but you made some observations around your idea. All right. So you would capture those notes here and make those observations, whether it's a coworker, a friend, or a stranger. In fact, let me go add another one. Family. Can't forget about the family. Let's add family in there. Let's show some love with the family. Let's add some color. All right. So there we go. So I'm going to add another record here and pick family. just so we get full experience of this research. What else do we want to know? Do we want to say, are they interested? Are they willing to pay? So perhaps let's go ahead and insert a column to the left and say, are they willing to pay for this idea, right? And then you could do another single select, do yes, and another one is no. Maybe make yes as a green. We've got the green light. Okay, so we got that. So let's go ahead and assume everyone is cool and they want to pay for it. So I'm going to click and drag. There's a really nice handle here. You just click and drag it and you got all the yeses. Are they willing to pay? And then the question is, if yes, how much? Let's do that. If yes, how much? This will give you an idea, right? So we'll keep it as a single line text. I'm sorry, not single line text. We'll make it a currency. So let's make it like money. Just a ballpark. It's going to be an estimate. Okay. So if yes, how much? So let's assume friend one says, $50. The next one is 100. Let's do 1,000 and maybe, 2,000. Because your family, they love you. All right. We don't even know what the idea is. So that's the question is, we don't even know what that idea is attached to, but I'm using this as a representation for you so you can learn how this all works. So that's going to be the key magic to all of this, is building a relational database between tables. So let's go ahead and attach an idea. So let's go with idea. And then you create a link to another record. This is going to link to the idea table. So we're going to do that, and they have surveys, ideas, and research. You can link it to itself, but let's go with ideas. And then we could allow it to link to multiple records. Really, we want to allow it to link to one record. One person, one idea. That's the only association we need. So it's not a one-to-many relationship. Or a many-to-one. It's really just a one-to-one. Hopefully that makes sense. One idea, one person that we made observation for. So I'm going to uncheck it. Hit save. Now I'm going to say, okay, this first friend, before I actually ask the question, are they willing to pay? If so, how much? Let's move this idea logically to the left and say, okay, what idea was this about? So let's assume this idea, when you hit the plus sign, is about, organizing your closet. Okay. Maybe this idea here for $100 was, how to retire before 50. Maybe this next one, the stranger is willing to pay $1,000 for how to retire for 50. And this last one, family, is very good at writing content, and they're willing to pay you $2,000 for it. But you get the idea. The whole point of it is that we now built this relationship between the ideas and the research itself. So if I were to go and do some more research online, maybe that's really what I should do actually, is put another type of person or avatar. Let's just put something like, say, online, okay? And let's add another record. Go in here, hit online, and say this was related to the idea of changing the brakes, and you know that someone was willing to pay for it. Let's say it's a forum, and that they're willing to pay $300 for that idea. And then you could put your notes in here, any observations you made, any other attachments, maybe a link to the URL that you looked at. So you get the idea how this all kind of works. But here's where the beauty comes into play. Once you made the links here, you can actually create a new view. I mean, as you can see, this could be a very overwhelming list as you continue your research as you go. But let's go ahead and create a view to better organize this. Let's go with another grid view. And I'm going to say grouped by idea, okay? Group by idea. So what we're going to do is do this group feature, click on it, and then we're going to pick a field called the idea field in this table, and then make it alphabetical order. And there we go. Each idea, as you can see on the left, has been grouped with all my research. So you get a general idea what the total amount of people that, this is basically a sum, but you can always change it to make it into an average. Here we go. See, it's all averages. So now you got an average idea what that particular idea could be charged for, you know? So it's a nice way to kind of have it built in. It also has a good way of organizing all your notes for a particular idea. This is where it's really cool. I don't know why people may not realize that organization goes a long way when I'm a visual person. So this is something that I just love seeing in a tool like this. But let's go ahead and move on. Now, you have this connection with the research and ideas, and you can always go back to your original list of all research notes, okay? Just like that. So let's go back to ideas, and you'll notice here that Airtable automatically created a column. This is basically tied to the unique ID of the research table because it made that association. We made that relationship. So you can easily hide this for visual sake, but you notice that there's numbers here. So I'm going to hide it for now just to make this clean. And the numbers represents the unique identifier here. So you can easily see where the associations are being made. Now, let's say you like this view here, group idea and all these averages, right? But let's say you just want to see it on a single line item, right? And one way to do it is you could right click on the arrow here and collapse all, and you can see it as one line item. Or another way, just because I want to show it in terms of the power of Airtable with regards to formulas, is you go to the ideas table, you can create another column that says average price people are willing to pay. I know it's really long and you like to keep fields short, but I just want to do this for just representation purposes. And then I'm going to do this as a, because it's already linked, you want to take a formula or a roll up, I'm sorry. There's a feature called roll up. And what it does, it rolls up the data. So it already knows that it's tied to a research table because that's the only table it's linked to. And let's choose a field. Let's choose, if yes, how much. Okay. And then we're going to do an average. Look at that. If I select average, I type in average and then hit save. All of a sudden we got the averages here. So let's go ahead and change the format type. Double click on it and click customize field type and change the formatting to be a currency. And then expand this because it's very long. There we have it. 500, 50, 50, 300, 2000. So let's go back to the research table. And then we got 300, 550, 50, 2000. See, and changing the breaks is 300 because this is not sorted in any way, but in our ideas, it shows right here 300 for changing the breaks. So if you want like a single dashboard view of looking at how your ideas roll up, this is one good way of doing it. So hopefully you found this helpful. This is really taking your idea mapping exercise to the next step. If you have any questions, please drop a comment below. If you'd like to see more of these things, let me know. I'll be happy to do it. But again, it's all about taking these tools and really taking the action and really just getting the work done and trying to find out that one idea because you got to start from somewhere. All right. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.